Palantir just reported their Q3 earnings after the market closed today. And let me just say off the rip, this was an amazing earnings. There's things in here for every single type of shareholder of Palantir to get excited about. Short-term investors, lots of things to get excited about. Medium-term investors, 1 to 2 years, very exciting news. Long-term investors over the next 5 to 10 to 15 years, tons to get excited about for us. I personally am very much a long-term shareholder of Palantir. The only people this earnings report was bad for is Palantir haters and the shorts, all right? Those are the only people that are mad after this earnings report. The stock after hours is up about 13% as I'm recording this video, up to $46.84. And for those keeping track at home, yes, that is an all-time high for Palantir as a public company. Very exciting day for Palantir shareholders. And it wasn't that long ago, maybe 18 months ago, that I would post videos about Palantir stock here on YouTube. And in the comments section, there would be multiple comments every single video saying, wow, you're a Palantir shareholder? What a clown. Terrible company, trash company, wouldn't ever touch it with a 1,000-foot pole. So many people were saying that just 18 months ago. Now people are tripping over themselves to buy Palantir stock above $45 a share at nearly a 300 PE ratio. It's crazy how quick the story can flip when you have a very special generational type company like Palantir. I want to jump right into these earnings, but I do got to say, if you're not subscribed to the channel already, hit the subscribe button, help us get that short-term goal of 5,000 subscribers, and drop a like on the video if you appreciated this video. Thank you so much for doing that, and let's jump into the video. Like I said earlier, I am a shareholder of Palantir. This is my biggest position, and it's only getting bigger after the bell today. As I said, we're up like 13%, somewhere around there in the aftermarket. I've been in this stock for nearly 4 years now, and we're up over 300% on our position in multiple different accounts. It's been a very good stock to me, but based on all the things I'm seeing, these levels that Palantir is at today, people are going to be kicking themselves for not picking up shares of Palantir when we look out 5, 10, and 15 years from now. I'm going to talk about why that is in this video and all the great things inside this earnings report. And let's start it off with a quote from one of the greatest visionary CEOs in the entire stock market, Alex Karp, the CEO of Palantir. His quote about the quarter was, quote, "We absolutely eviscerated this quarter, driven by unrelenting AI demand that won't slow down. This is a US-driven AI revolution that has taken full hold. The world will be divided into AI haves and have-nots. At Palantir, we plan to power the winners." Wow, that is a very, very powerful quote. Really important and really exciting for the long-term shareholder of Palantir like myself and probably like you who's watching this video. The management team believes that they are just getting started. They're just now hitting their massive growth phase, taking over the commercial market in AI. Let's get into the headline numbers and the highlights. Palantir reports revenue growth of 30% year over year. In my Palantir earnings preview video, I said I wanted to see a revenue growth number that was at or above 30%. We got that. I'm very excited that we see that number jumping back above 30. That's a number that Alex Karp had talked about on a compounded annual growth rate basis. Over a 5-year span, they would have a 30% compounded annual growth rate. He said that so many times in the early days of Palantir being a public company, they are back above the 30 mark for this quarter, and I would say they're going to keep that going for multiple quarters to go in the future. US revenue growth grew by 44% year over year. That's not just US commercial, that's US commercial and government grew by 44% year over year. Extremely impressive number. This is the biggest market that they play in, the most important market for them to capitalize on, and they've got that segment of the business growing 44%. That's very impressive. GAAP EPS stayed unchanged from the prior quarter at 6 cents of GAAP EPS, and then they raised guidance on so many different metrics. We'll get into the specific numbers of their guidance raises, but they raised full year guidance on revenue, US commercial revenue, adjusted free cash flow, adjusted operating income, and they say that all of this is due to AI demand that won't slow down. When we look at GAAP net income and GAAP operating income, the company on an absolute basis is becoming much more profitable quarter over quarter and of course year over year. When we look at a percentage basis, it was unchanged from Q2. We have a 20% net income margin and a 16% operating income margin. Those are very respectable numbers. I wanted to see 1% up on each one of those, but I'm not going to get mad. They held strong at 20 and 16 respectively. Very impressive. And like I said, on an absolute basis, they're absolutely becoming way more profitable. Their Rule of 40 score is now an absolutely ridiculous 68%. I'm going to make a whole separate video on how crazy it is that Palantir has been on this ridiculous tear of bringing their Rule of 40 score up from below 40 to now 68% over the past 6 quarters. It's absolutely ridiculous, but I'll make a completely separate video about it. And in that video, I'm going to detail that they are crushing every other public SaaS company out there on the Rule of 40 metric. Another thing I talked about inside of my earnings preview was that their cash equivalents, and short-term investments would probably be in excess of $4.3 billion this quarter. They are way above that at $4.6 billion of cash equivalents, and short-term investments. I haven't heard any commentary on if they announced a plan with that $4.6 million, but we can look at the balance sheet to see where most of that money is. And while we know that Palantir is absolutely a growth story, they're also a margin story. Check these numbers out sequentially, looking at Q2 2024 to Q3 of 2024. I'm just going to run down the margins. Income from operations margin, 16%. This is Q2. All these are Q2 2024 numbers. Income from operations, 16% margin. Adjusted income from operations, 37%. Cash from operations, 21%. Adjusted free cash flow, 22%. Net income margin, 20%. And adjusted EBITDA margin, 39%. And then we look at this quarter, Q3 of 2024. Keep those numbers in mind from a second ago. Income from operations stayed unchanged at 16%. Adjusted income from operations up by 1% up to 38%. Here's where it gets crazy. Cash from operations all the way up to 58% from a low 21% in the prior quarter. Adjusted free cash flow in Q3 of 2024, 60% margin. 1 quarter ago, that was a 22% margin. That is mind-blowingly ridiculous growth in the adjusted free cash flow margin. And then let's move on to guidance, because not only did they report an amazing quarter in Q3 of 2024, every single thing they said about guidance was extremely bullish. All of the following things I'm about to talk about are raises from their prior guidance. Q4 of 2024, they expect revenue between 676 and 771 million. Q4, they expect adjusted income from operations to be between 298 and 302 million. For full year 2024, they raised their revenue guidance to between 2.805 and 2.809 billion, raising US commercial revenue guidance to be in excess of 687 million, representing a growth rate of at least 50% in the US commercial growth. Amazing. We're raising our adjusted income from operations guidance to between 1.054 and 1.058 billion dollars. We're raising our adjusted free cash flow guidance to be in excess of $1 billion for full year 2024. And we expect, of course, to see GAAP operating income and net income for each quarter of this year, which is just Q4 of 2024. Really cool thing here, Palantir now has 2x the income from operations as they do interest income. There was a time where they had just flipped the profitability quarter where interest income was actually eclipsing operating income for multiple quarters in a row. And then they were about equal. And I said in my videos, each time they reported earnings, they're going to get to a space where they have so much income from operations that the interest income is really not even going to do much for the company at all. They are well on their way to that. Over 2x the operating income as they do the interest income. And we can check out the balance sheet to see where that interest income is coming from. So checking out the balance sheet, they have a whopping $5.768 billion of total assets, and $3.795 billion of that is in marketable securities. Let's think of that as T-bills, okay, or money market fund. Probably T-bills though. They can sell those off at any point to convert that into cash, but for now, they're getting a decent amount of interest income off that, which is helping those net income numbers out in a massive way. Net income is an extremely important number to get a general snapshot of how efficient a business is running. Over a very long span, stocks typically follow their earnings. So if the EPS is up over a long period of time, the stock is typically up over a long period of time. It's very important that Palantir keeps on prioritizing the EPS while taking market share and still going crazy on the revenue growth and building out that US commercial side in a major way. Okay, as I was recording this video, the investor presentation came out, so I want to kind of flip to the investor presentation real quick. Let's focus on U.S. commercial growth. We got 54% year over year U.S. commercial growth, 77% year over year U.S. commercial customer count growth, 73% year over year U.S. remaining deal value, 130 U.S. deals closed, and a total U.S. commercial contract value of $297 million. They say here, U.S. commercial continues to accelerate in Q3 alongside the AIP revolution. That's the artificial intelligence platform that they rolled out a few quarters ago. It is going as well as it possibly could. And also inside this presentation, the revenue number would actually look even better if they took out some of those strategic commercial contracts. That's where they're basically giving customers a discount for talking about their product, what it's doing in their business, helping them out to spread the word and build trust and grow market share for Palantir. So if you exclude those strategic commercial contracts, the year-over-year revenue growth was actually 32%. Very impressive, still accelerating. They have not broken the trend of accelerating revenue growth every single quarter from that low of 12.75% about 5 or 6 quarters ago. Before I give my closing thoughts, just one more check on the stock price of where it's at as of the end of me recording this video. $46.65. Like I said, that is at the all-time high for Palantir. That is an amazing day for Palantir shareholders, especially someone like you or someone like me who has been holding the stock for about 4 years now. It is great to see that. It's been quite the roller coaster with Palantir, but what a fun roller coaster it's been, and it's only getting better. Alex Karp and the team are running this company as good as we could ever ask for. It's going much better than I thought it would, much sooner than I thought it would. I thought 2025, mid-2025, was really when we're going to start to see the 30% growth, even 20% growth. I didn't think we would see 25 to 30% growth until mid-2025. It's going much faster than I thought it would, and that's probably because they have shortened the sales cycle so much, and they focused so much on revolutionizing the company from taking it from a 3-month, potentially longer than that sales cycle down to a 5-day or less sales cycle. They can take a company from knowing nothing about Palantir to being able to implement Palantir within 5 days, especially with AIP. The continued growth opportunity, along with the continually expanding margins and accelerating profitability, is not something you get in every company. This is a very, very special company that I'm going to be holding for the next many years, probably a decade or more. They are just now getting started with their massive growth phase in the US commercial side. And like Alex Karp said, they absolutely eviscerated this quarter, driven by unrelenting AI demand that won't slow down. There's not a better thing he could have said to us long-term investors out there. I want to hear what you're doing with Palantir stock. Are you holding all your shares? Are you selling into the strength? Are you still buying? Are you shorting the stock? I'm curious to hear what you're doing out there with Palantir. Let me know in the comments below. Definitely one of my favorite parts of posting here on YouTube is checking out your comments and having some conversation with you guys down there. Congratulations to any fellow Palantir shareholders out there. What an amazing year it's been. A great Q3, and it's only going to get better from here. Thank you so much for stopping by, and have an amazing day.